This video is going to show you how to do paper mache. So paper mache is a technique that you can use to make a 3D sculpture. So what you have to do paper mache is the first thing you need to do is figure out what shape you're going to use. So a lot of times I do a project where we do a hot air balloon, so you might be using a balloon for the shape. But you might be trying to make a heart, or you might be trying to make a face, or whatever it is. In order to do that, you need to have a base first before you start the paper mache. So let's say, for example, you're trying to make a heart. You might take a bunch of newspaper and you might make it into the shape of a heart, all right, and tape around it so you have this sort of base to work with. Or you might take some cardboard and hot glue and make a pyramid out of cardboard and hot glue, and then you can put the paper mache on top. Okay, so depending on what you're doing, you want to get a shape to put the paper mache on. So for this experiment, for this demonstration, I'm going to use a balloon. So once you have the shape that you're going to paste the paper mache on, you basically need, first you need to put down paper at your table, because paper mache gets messy. So you can put down newspaper, or Miss Pick might have a certain thing for you to put down at your table. All right, but you're going to put down paper at your table. The second thing, after you have the shape you're going to use, you have the paper down, you're going to want to tear tiny strips of newspaper. So you can take the newspaper and tear it into strips like this, but then you also need to go ahead and tear it into smaller strips, okay? If you use small strips, it will make your shape more solid, and it will also make it form easier to the shape that you're trying to make. All right, so once you have that, you are going to get some glue. So Miss Pick has some paper mache glue that you're going to use. All right, you're going to get one of these containers from her, and you're probably going to get something to hold your object. If you have a cardboard object that will sit on the table, then you might not need this. But like for the balloon, I need to have the balloon sit up somehow. So I have a bowl. Sometimes a cup will work. Sometimes you need to make your own holder. Like you'll need to hot glue a piece of cardboard in a circle so that it will hold the object while you're doing the paper mache. So for this balloon, I have this, let me get it so you can see. I have this sort of bowl, okay, that's going to hold my paper mache balloon in place while I put the paper on top, okay? Now, the first thing you're going to want to do, the next thing you're going to want to do after you have your strips of newspaper is, this is going to get messy, but it's just glue. It comes off your hand, so you don't need to worry about it. Actually, it's kind of fun to peel off your hand sometimes. So you are going to take the newspaper strip, you're actually going to dip it into the newspaper, and then you're going to try to get the excess glue off. So see, I dipped it in, but then I don't want it to be too gluey. So I'm going to kind of like wipe that off, and then I'm going to start putting it on my balloon. And it's actually easier if you just use your hands, okay? So see how that strip stays on there? Then I'm going to take the next strip. I'm going to dip it into the glue. I'm going to how do we want to say this? Like rub off extra glue. All right, I'm going to rub off the extra glue, and then I'm going to smooth it down to whatever surface I'm doing. Okay, so let's say you had that paper mache heart that you were doing and it had tape around it. You would be doing the same thing. All right, now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to, you have to be careful with these balloons. They can sometimes bounce off on you. If you want to, you can tape it down with a little piece of masking tape just to get it to stay. So you're going to keep doing this. You're going to keep taking the excess glue off and putting the pieces on your balloon and smoothing it down. Try to make sure there are no wrinkles on the balloon. All right, so now once you smooth it down, once you're smoothing it down, you're going to do 3 layers. So it might take you a whole class period just to get this first layer onto the balloon. And then you might let it dry, and then you're going to do the second layer. And then you might let it dry again, and then you'll do the third layer. It's good to do 3 layers so that it will stay strong. All right, so you see how there's a little wrinkle there, like the paper kind of folded over? You're going to want to try to fix that, okay? Now, if for some reason, sometimes we run out of newspaper. Newspaper is not as easy to come by these days. This balloon seems to be trying to come up. So I actually would recommend, if you're doing this balloon, to carefully take a piece of tape and just kind of tape it to the bowl like this. All right, so that it will just kind of stay down for you. All right, if you're doing the balloon, you're going to want to do everything on the balloon except the very bottom, because we'll pop the balloon and then we're going to paint it, and it's going to become like a hot air balloon that we're going to hang from the ceiling. Okay, so you're going to do 1 layer, you're going to do 2 layers, you're going to do 3 layers. You might only get to do 1 layer per class because it takes a while. This is just glue and water, so you just wash your hands when you're done. Now, how do you store it when you're done is you need to probably store it either on a bowl or maybe on a cup. You should write your name in Sharpie either on the bowl or on the cup, and you are going to put it in one of the project shelves, okay? So let's say you're 4th period or whatever and you're doing this. After you've written your name on the bowl, you are going to bring it, or on the cup, whatever it is, you're going to bring it over here into the 3rd period project shelf, if you're 3rd period, and you're going to store it in there, and that way you'll be able to get it for the next class period, okay? So you should fill out your paper mache sheet and show it to Miss Pick so that you'll be able to get started on the first step of paper mache. After you're done storing your project, you simply throw your paper in the trash that was on your table to not get your table messy.